Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy Miguel back again with another video. Now, I apologize for the delay in the videos, just been a little bit under the weather, but we're back and we have a OnePlus phone here with us. I don't know if you guys know by now, but OnePlus is probably one of my favorite Android devices out there. And I'm not trying to be biased when I'm making this review, but this is a pretty good phone. I should say just that right now. But this is the OnePlus Ace 2. Now, if you guys have not heard of the OnePlus Ace name, this is better known in other parts of the world or internationally as the OnePlus 11R. The R series is kind of like a toned down series of the regular OnePlus, which means that they're sacrificing in some ways here and there, and they're making some changes to keep the cost low. Now this is where that comes in. This is the Ace 2, which just came out. Now this is a very similar phone to the OnePlus 11, but there are some changes here and there. And the big question is, OnePlus is usually known as a flagship killer. Is this also, or can it still be considered a flagship killer even after it's toned down? So let's go ahead and look at the box. We have the Ace name over here, and as I mentioned, this is just the Chinese version, which is why you can see that we have Chinese over here, Ace 2. We still have the red signature box. I should mention this is 256 gig version with 18 gigs of RAM. I think that's the most that I've seen on a phone recently, 18 gigs of RAM. And you can also see that it says Oppo here, because OnePlus, Oppo are very similar phones as well, and especially in China. Now let's go ahead and unbox this and see what we have. So we have, I believe, the booklet, which comes with a silicone case, and silicone cases is something that you don't usually see with OnePlus phones. But because this is the Chinese version, I'm assuming that's why we have this. We also have, it looks like a screen protector, and basically a phone protector that gives you the ability to protect the phone from all sides. So that's really good to see. We have some stickers over here, and I think, where's the SIM tray? I saw the SIM pin. Oh yeah, the SIM pin is right here. So we have some details here. We have the actual phone. Sorry about that. And then we also have the infamous 100-watt SuperVOOC charger. SuperVOOC charger, which will charge the phone pretty quickly. I'll talk about them a little bit. And then we also have the signature red color USB-C cable. Now the phone itself is also a red color phone, which you may or may not like. I personally, I mean, it looks pretty, but I probably would not go for this color. I really don't like flashy things. I like to go with darker shades. So if, this also comes in a black color, so I would actually go for that. The back here is kind of like a textured vegan leather. We have some fake stitching over here. Now, just looking at the phone, this looks like a OnePlus 11. It doesn't really look like a toned down version of it, but there's one big difference, is the Hasselblad branding, which is not mentioned over here. Again, I'll talk about that in a little bit as well. So we still have the curved glass here on the front. The back is leather, but I believe this comes with a glass variant as well, which comes with Gorilla Glass 5. This one obviously not that, but we have the same mute button over here, which has a little bit of a weaker haptic reaction. So that's also one thing that you should consider. We have an IR blaster on top, which can be used for remote controls. We have the power button on this side. We have the speaker, the USB-C port, the SIM pin, the SIM tray, and then we have the volume rocker here on the left side. I should mention though that this doesn't have any IP ratings, so I don't know whether that's going to be a deal breaker for you or not, but yeah, this really doesn't have any IP ratings. If you look at the screen, at the display, it's pretty much the same display. It's a very nice display. Again, it has, this is a fluid AMOLED display, 120 Hertz, which can go for 60, 120, 90, or 120, so you have the adaptive mode over there. One more thing that actually OnePlus mentions is that this can also go to 40, 45 Hertz, which is really unheard of, because you really cannot find content that runs at 40, 45 Hertz. So that's a little bit weird, but you still have it. Normally you'd see 60, 90, and 120. This has the option to stay at 120 at all times, or you can even put it on dynamic, which will then vary from 60 to 90 to 120 as well. Talking about the resolution, this has a 1220 by 27 72p resolution display. Now that's above full HD 1080 and then just a little bit lower than 1440. So it's kind of in between. The thing about that is that you are losing about 35% of the pixels if you compare to the regular OnePlus 11. So it's not really going to be noticeable, but it's just a fact that I thought I should mention here. When it comes to the peak brightness, also a pretty good performance at 1450 nits of peak brightness. If we talk about the performance, this phone does pretty good there as well, which is why I referred to these as flagship killers, because you get pretty much everything that you want on a flagship, but at a lower price point. Now this comes with Snapdragon's 8th Gen plus 1 chip, which is the latest of last year's chip. Nevertheless, it's still a flagship chip, and this comes paired with 18 gigs of RAM, as I mentioned, and that performance gave us about 1.3 million points on N2 benchmark, which is really not bad at all. It's actually more than any phone that I've seen recently that comes in this price category. So when it comes to the performance, it's not going to lack at all in any place. You can play whatever games you want, and this is a workhorse of a phone, so you can use it to the max without having to slow down. I should mention something, that the software over here is actually Oxygen OS 13, but if I have to be honest, this is more of a fake Color OS, or if I had to describe it, as a Color OS 13 that is wearing a mustache and fake glasses. So I mean, I'm not going to say that it's bad, because it's really not, but you are going to have to spend a little bit of time customizing it with the exact settings that you want, and just to make it look like you want, you're going to have to spend a little bit of time. Nevertheless, it's not really bad. Officially, it comes with Oxygen OS 13, but it's more like a Color OS 13, if I'm honest. If we talk about the cameras, the main camera is actually the same, and the model also looks pretty much the same as the OnePlus 11, but you don't have the Hasselblad branding, which I think you can live without. And I should mention that it's not really a Hasselblad camera, it's more of a branding that they have with them, and there may be a little bit of image processing that they are doing with Hasselblad, but it's not really a Hasselblad camera. I mean, Hasselblad cameras are very, very expensive, and if this had to have a Hasselblad camera, then it wouldn't actually even fit here, because that's how big those sensors are. So the main 50 megapixel camera is still the same as on the OnePlus 11. The other cameras here is where this phone actually now comes in and is labeled the R, because that's the biggest downgrade that this phone has, which is the 8 megapixel ultra wide and the 2 megapixel macro that it actually replaces from the original OnePlus 11. So that's one of the biggest differences, and I should say that those are subpar cameras. They're not really good at all. There's a lot of graining, there's a lot of noise on them. To me, they're kind of worthless. So more or less, they're really useless. The main camera is still an IMX890 Sony sensor, so again, that's good to see. But the two cameras are, in my opinion, pretty useless. The main camera will shoot at 4K at 30 and 60 FPS. At 1080p, it can shoot at 30, 60, and 240 FPS. On the front, we also have a 16 megapixel camera. The front camera is really nice actually, and it has pretty good portrait photography modes as well. The colors are also pretty crisp, pretty accurate, so I'm actually very impressed by the front camera. It will also shoot in 1080p at 30 FPS if you are wondering. Now talking about the battery, this does come with a standard 5000 milliampere battery, so no difference there. 5000 is what a lot of cell phones nowadays have, but you get the 100-watt Super VOOC charger. Now this will charge the phone from 0 to 50% in about 9 minutes, which is not bad at all. And then if you want to charge it to 100%, it took us about 26 minutes. So again, not really bad at all. Less than 30 minutes to have a 0 to 100 phone is pretty good in my opinion. And again, a 5000 milliamperes battery is going to last you all day. We've tested it, pretty much used it all day, and it was able to last us without any issues. So you're also good there. Now, what about the price? What is the main difference here? So as you can tell, there are three main differences here. Now there's no IP rating. The haptics are a little bit weak, and then the main camera is the difference that really tones down this phone and brings the price down. But the main thing is actually the cameras. The rest of the details you're really not going to notice that much, and you may be able to live without them. Again, if you are into ultra wide cameras and you really want to take ultra wide photography and macro photography, then I would tell you to look elsewhere. But if you can live with that main 50 megapixel camera, which is a very good camera in my opinion, I think you should go ahead and buy this one, because this will cost you around $500, $500 to $600 is what this will cost you around. And if we convert that, I'm talking about the 18 gig variant, which you really cannot find in most places. You'll see the 16 gig variant. 18 gig variant is around $500 to $600. If we convert that into dirhams, that's just roughly around 2,000 to 2,100 dirhams. And again, at that price point, you're getting so much phone that I would actually consider this over something like an S23 Ultra, because you get so much for, you know, pretty much half the price that you're paying. So yeah, I would actually go ahead and highly recommend you to buy this phone. If you can live with the main 15 megapixel camera minus the Hasselblad branding, then this is the phone to buy. And again, I'm not being biased here. I know that I said that I prefer OnePlus phones to others, but again, I'm just being honest with you guys. I did mention the downsides of it, which again is the cameras as well, and a little bit of the display, but it's not noticeable because the pixels are about 35% less, so you're not really going to notice that much. And again, if you can live with a weak haptic and no IP rating, then, you know, why not go ahead and buy this. But yeah guys, that's my review on the OnePlus 11R, or as it's known in China, the OnePlus Ace 2. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let me know if this is something that you would consider buying for around 2,000 dirhams, $500 to $600. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.